Hello, potential viewers. Welcome to my channel. I think right at this point of the internet history, as well as the culture war, if you are watching my channel and my videos, you should not be too unfamiliar with the phrase, get woke, go broke. I think I might have commented on this phrase in one of my previous videos, but here is a video documenting my thoughts on this phrase on a more general level. I have been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, but never really got a chance to. I will try my best to express my basic thoughts on this seemingly simple but actually unexpectedly complicated idea. So what is the short version of my general thoughts? Well, to quote Captain Beanie Tim Pool, it's complicated. Alright, that will be all for my thoughts on this video. Hope you like it. I hope to see you next time. That was a cliche gimmick, isn't it? Hey, what can I tell you? I'm all in internet years and I am barely making it as an internet content creator. But to get back to the topic of woke and broke, what makes it complicated? First of all, it is undoubtedly true that content being deliberately woke and in your face about its progressive political agenda is a turnoff for general market for products. And this is not something that is exclusive to the left-wing politics as well. Product placements, marketing with obvious and non-subtle political and out-of-the-norm messaging, especially messaging with some implicit sense of accusation, tend to trigger a defensive response. They tend to end badly as well. If you disagree, try to check on how people make fun of Christian rock and Christian rap, as well as a lot of those anti-drug and anti-smoke PSAs. It is a lot of fun to scroll around the comment section on those videos if you can find them on YouTube. With this comparison made, I think this point should be very clear. If you think about it, the whole woke ideology, while being constantly morphing and invasive, is in itself very religious, or at least bears significant resemblance to that of a religion. It contains a very clearly defined sense of sin and some sort of narrative structure where the definition of good and bad become clearly based on its membership and rigid adherence to its central orthodoxy. And with this kind of framing, marketing and making of cultural product based on it will inevitably carry a sense of moral self-righteousness and self-glorification, with some sort of intended or unintended implied moral condemnation on the behavior or inclination of the audience. And just in case some of you did not understand it, aside from some of those soy-filled creatures that are willing to play dogs leashed by person of colors, no one likes to be accused morally, especially in a casual setting and with a non-encouraging manner. Take the famous Gillette ad on toxic masculinity, for example. It deliberately painted a very simplistic picture of a stereotypical male behavior. It assumes very flimsy moral high ground of I know best, and it delivered its message in an extremely condescending way of do as I say or you're bad. Attitudes like this have their places in churches where people are predisposed to a mindset of guilt, omission, and self-reflection. But when you are trying to sell razors, bad idea. But on the other hand, when done in a subtle way, or at least not entirely on the nose and with enough marketing material set up, it is not as franchise-failing as some of the critics of woke culture claims to be. Take, for example, the movie Captain Marvel and the new Star Wars franchise. Being woke as they were and their creators were, they were still successful in a financial sense. Same thing could be said about Nike, who still has Colin Kaepernick as one of its central marketing figures. A lot of people cheered when the stock has a bit of a drop shortly after one of its ads. But looking at 1 year window, it is still not that bad for a company with its size and history. It is not a high growth stock, so fluctuations like that are generally not a huge concern for its investors. The reason behind it is that the targeting of market demographics and their central audience, as well as their place in the overall product offerings. The Captain Marvel movie was wedged between the two-part finales of the Infinity War as a piece with critical information to the lore. This can be a core explanation to its high growth market performance. The latest Star Wars franchise still had quite a bit of production value and with an okay story as well as power of nostalgia on its side. And Nike's core demographic happens to be hardcore followers of its product lines, and it turns out absolute majority of their buyers are welcoming or at least not annoyed by its marketing strategy. Woke, as their cultural branding may be, their core audience are perfectly comfortable with it. Therefore, it is not a go broke case. I am super inclined to make a reparations joke here, but I will refrain myself and prepare cash for Nike and General Motors stock if the policies were about to be passed. With these two arguments listed out, let me try to lay out a third. If you tune in to fashion news occasionally, you would have heard of some of the news of Victoria's Secret. First, the news being it willing to feature transgender models at its quote-unquote angels for Victoria's Secret fashion show. Then before such a show could ever happen and its first transgender angels could walk the stage, the show was cancelled and its global sales collapsed as well as its stock evaluation. Some critics of the woke culture called it being another case of get woke, go broke. But I think this is a case of going broke, try woke. I have not the time or energy to follow this company, but my significant other, who is quite in tune with the fashion industry, did fill me in on some of the details. The company behind Victoria's Secret, the L Brands, has long been in financial trouble before the collapse of the stock and cancellation of the show that would have featured its first transgender angel. Obvious issues like the short-sighted marketing, lack of design innovation, and scandals of sexual predation among its high execs aside. Being a cheap and poor quality underwear for the younger demographics during an age where people prefer comfort and quality to lack of coverage is clearly a bad general business model. So, the inclusion of non-professional models like gals from the Kardashian family and inclusion of transgender angels may have been placed out of the same wave of desperate strategies to save brand and keep it relevant. It is a trend, and being a member of the fashion industry, it just needs to hop on the wagon. And this will be a similar play used by different companies as well. Say what you will about the culture war, it is still quite an obvious fact that the political climate that stems from it has created more cultural identities, which will become a new market audience ripe for our corporations to target. When a corporation posts black boxes on its social media website, turn its company logo into rainbow color, or openly having non-white, non-straight, and non-cis employees spouting trendy political slogans, it is not only about the relationship building with some of the underlying communities, it is also about appealing to the groups of these new cultural identities in order to maintain a certain kind of image, with the purpose of not gaining negative attentions and negative press. And just in case you have not been in the schools for a while, it is no secret that for the past few decades, folks graduating from schools with marketing majors have been overwhelmingly progressive and left-wing. So it is without a doubt that we will be seeing more of this kind of strategy from various corporations in the future. What this also means is that the baseline for wokeness is already relatively high. And if a company is attempting to break into a new market, which is in itself often quite a risky move, or when it is struggling and trying to gain more attention and maintain relevance, it is very likely that additionally woke strategies will be deployed, and if they failed, they will fail with the woke images. So yeah, this is a super long wind down of its complicated answer on the issue of woke and broke. I hope that provided at least some interesting points, and I hope to see you next time.